Hey, this is Hans from Dakota Angler and Outfitter. We're going to tie a cricket pattern. Got a Daiichi 1260 hook in the vise, 140 denier black thread. Start at the eye, wrap back to the bend. We're going to tie in some black sili-legs for tails. Tie those in just above the midpoint of the hook. Pull back on the sili-legs as you wrap down back to the back of the hook. It gives them a nice splayed look. Trim them to length if they're not even. Next, we'll use a piece of black 2mm foam for the back and head of the fly. When we tie this in, we're going to tie it in 2/3 of the way up the hook towards the eye, and then wrap back over the foam. Give a few more wraps to cover that foam up. That's going to form a nice underbody for our cricket pattern. We'll use a little black ice dubbing for the body of the fly. It's going to dub enough to cover the underbody of the fly. Dub forward to the end of the underbody. We'll fold the foam over and tie it down in front of the underbody and wrap forward to the eye of the hook over the foam. Leave the tag into foam for a head, so don't trim that off. Use some black sili-legs that have been knotted, and below the joint one section is removed, creates a taper for the leg. Have a pair of those tied up before you begin tying the fly. And you can tie them in, one on either side of the body. It can be a little fussy at times, want to slide around, and once you get the thread on them, they go crooked. So it might take a couple times aligning the legs against the body and lashing them down with thread to get them to lay the way you want them. Once you get those tied down though, you can remove any excess length on the lower segments of the legs, on the lower segment of the legs. And then trim off the excess at the front of the leg. We're going to tie in an antenna. You could do this earlier in the fly if you'd like. Tie that in just behind the foam head. Fold the foam head back. Bring each end around. And secure it behind the eye with the thread. Making sure that the antennae aren't crooked and stick out straight from the front of the fly. And return your thread behind the foam head. And tie in a black crystal flash wing. Fold it down and trim it even with the back of the body. We'll dub a thorax using some more black crystal or black ice dubbing, I should say. Once you've dubbed that thorax, we're going to fold the foam back to form the head. We'll leave a little tag end there. It's kind of a little wing case. I like to trim the top corners off of that so it gives it a little bit more of a rounded look. Now we'll tie in some legs, some front legs on either side of the head. If you need to give your antenna a quick trim, do that now. Tie in a pair of legs on either side of the head. Now we'll use a little hot pink ice dubbing to make a little strike indicator on the top of the fly. A black fly can be hard to see in certain light conditions, but this hot pink ice dubbing really stands out. And you can see it from a long ways off. Once you've got that tied in, you can whip finish. It's kind of a tight spot to whip finish. Make sure before you tighten up you don't have any of your legs trapped in your knot. I usually throw a couple of whip finishes on this fly just to make sure that everything's held together really well. This one gets chewed up quite a bit when they take it, so an extra whip finish adds a little layer of durability to the fly. Trim down that indicator. Trim the front legs down. And there you have a finished cricket pattern. Crickets work extremely well for me in the summertime, almost better than hopper patterns for some reason. But this pattern has been working quite well this summer so far and deserves a spot in your box. Thanks for watching.